Cory.
And Stephanie.
And welcome to Epcot in this episode of Disney Food Wars. Today we're in search of the best quick service fish and chips on Disney property, and we're starting it all right here in Epcot's World Showcase in the UK Pavilion at the Yorkshire County Fish Shop.
That we are. And after that, we'll be heading over to Disney Springs next to Raglan Road to check out their quick service Cooks of Dublin.
And I'm excited because we love fish and chips, always in search of the best fish and chips. We've been to Yorkshire before, never been over to Cooks of Dublin, so I'm excited to put these two head to head and see which one is the best. Let's get this episode started of Disney Food Wars. So here's the fish and chips from the Yorkshire County Fish Shop here in Epcot. These are $11.49, and it looks like 3 pretty good pieces of fish with those thick cut fries underneath. This looks pretty tasty.
Alrighty, so while ordering these, I did ask the cast member what the fish is that it's made out of, and he told me tilapia, which I'm kind of surprised about. It's not usually my first choice for fish and chips, but one cool thing that he did share is the tilapia is actually raised here on site at Epcot. Pretty cool. So let's give it a try, and I'll let you know how it is. The fish has a very mild flavor, not fishy at all. Nice and flaky. Nice good crunch to the batter, well seasoned. I think overall it's very tasty.
All right, so I'm excited to dive in and give this fish a try, and it is nice and crispy, fresh and hot right out of the fryer. Let's give that a try. And that's pretty good. I have to say I was surprised to hear too that they were using tilapia. I don't think that that's that common. Maybe I'm wrong of a fish to use for fish and chips, but it is that nice mild fish like what you would expect with fish and chips. Not that thick of a piece, at least this one's a little thicker than some of the others. But cooked perfectly, and portion size with 3 of these for $11.49 with the fries. I think it's probably a pretty good value too. But I think in the past these have been a little bit better here, so I'm not sure that it's always been tilapia, but overall a pretty good fish and chips here. And let's give the french fries a try. Like I said, they're kind of a thicker cut fry, not your average, Walt Disney World quick service fry. So I'm excited to get in there and give these a try. They look nice and crispy on the outside. With some ketchup. And those are good french fries. Definitely better than the average quick service french fries here in Walt Disney World. Overall, I think this is a really good start. All right, so round 1 is in the books here in Epcot, and now we are gonna head over to Disney Springs to try some more fish and chips.
It's a good thing we like fish and chips.
So here's our fish and chips here from Cooks of Dublin in Disney Springs, and this is quite different than what we saw over at Epcot. Epcot had the 3 fish fillets of tilapia, and this is 1 big piece of cod on top of fries that look very similar to what we saw over at Epcot. And this looks good. This is $12.45, so just about $1 exactly more than what we paid over in Epcot for probably a similar portion. But let's see how it tastes. All right, so let's give this fish and chips a try here at the Cooks of Dublin, and this is the fillet. I've already cut it so you can see when you put it together. That's the size of it. A little bit thicker definitely than what we had over at Epcot, but I cut a piece off of here to give it a try. Another thing here is it looks like they might be making this tartar sauce, or it definitely looks a little bit better than what was coming out of the little packets over in Epcot. So let's give this a try and see how this tastes. Again, a nice crunch on the fish here. I do think the flavor of the cod is definitely better than what you get over at Epcot. But it's not as flaky and as kind of juicy as what the fish was over at Epcot either. But I think the flavor's better. Quantity-wise, I do think that this is a pretty big piece of fish. But still, because there was 3 over at Epcot, probably a similar portion. But I think this is pretty tasty, and the tartar sauce is definitely better than what you got out of the packets over in Epcot too.
At first glance, this batter certainly looks a little thinner and crispier, not quite as greasy as what we've seen at Epcot. Let's see how it does with the flavor. The fish has really nice flavor. The batter, in my opinion, is a little bit too thin, if that makes sense. It just doesn't offer a lot of flavor, and it's a little too crunchy for me. Now these French fries, there's something to talk about. Those are good sized fries. Very similar to what we had at Epcot. A little undercooked in the center for me, but the flavor overall is good on the fries.
All right, so that was our second and final stop here today as we travel around trying to find the best quick service fish and chips on Disney property. What did you think of the Cooks of Dublin here in Disney Springs?
I did like that they used the cod over the tilapia just because I think it's a better choice of fish for fish and chips. However, I will say that I think that my fries were a little undercooked and underseasoned, and the fish honestly seemed like it was overcooked and maybe it was sitting for a little while. It just lacked that freshness.
I'm gonna agree, and I think under-seasoned as well. You know, it's a shame that even though they were using the cod, that they couldn't get that better flavor coming through. I think if it was fresher and had a better crisp to it, and if that breading had a better seasoning, that this one could have stood out. But again, the fries too were a little bit undercooked. So yeah, I don't know. It was okay. I mean, I'm not gonna say it was bad.
Yeah, I just think over at the Yorkshire County Fish Shop, I think that they got the cook a little bit better on it. It seems so fresh coming out of there and hot and well flavored.
Yeah, and it had that nice bubbly batter on it, that crispy bubbly batter that you expect on fish and chips. And even though it was tilapia, the flavor was delicious, and those fries had that nice crispy outside with the soft inside and were seasoned perfectly. So I think that it's unanimous that the winner of this episode of Disney Food Wars is
the Yorkshire County Fish Shop.
Absolutely, and it was good. It was delicious. I think $1 less than what we paid here, and it's actually in a park, which is kind of interesting too.
Yeah, and how cool is it that they actually grow the tilapia there at Epcot? Like, I mean, that's
they
fresh.
raise it.
Well, yeah.
It's not gonna come on a tree or something.
Well, they grow in their tanks.
Anything else to add?
No.
Well, I think that's gonna do it for us here today for this episode of Disney Food Wars. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe below for more like it. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching.